Hello everyone, I'm Llamas170 and welcome to another LEGO build and review. To quickly explain what this is, it will be a review of the LEGO set that I choose to do, a video of me building the set, as well as the portion of me showing off the final product. My rating will be at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Let's get right into it. Today, I'm going to be reviewing and building the Ultimate Collector's Series X-Wing LEGO set number 75355 with 1,949 pieces. This set is recommended for ages 18 plus and is $239.99 before tax and shipping on lego.com. This is my first ever UCS set and I was extremely excited to get into this build. So let's start talking about it. There are too many things that come with this set. If this is your first UCS set or set with over 1,000 pieces, there is a large amount of bags and items that you will have to make your way through. The first thing you might notice is that there's something very large that isn't in a plastic baggie, and instead, it's in its own envelope. This is your instruction kit for the build. It is nearly 320 pages long with introductions on the creators of the build, the inspiration, and the instructions. Putting the instructions in their own container is lovely. This would have gotten destroyed in the box with all the bags being in there moving around. Even after building it, the instructions are in good condition, but if you like to keep them pristine, just use the online PDF. There's also the orange tool. This will come in handy if you mess up throughout the build, which I always do. Always a welcome sight in any LEGO box. Let's now get into the build. The amount of bags might be a bit misleading. Many of them are paired with each other. For instance, bag 2 has a big bag and a medium bag that are somewhere in your pile of bags. This was a little confusing to me since I was used to everything having their own bags or the big bags having everything inside them for later. I thought they just forgot to send me a lot of things when I opened up the first few. With bag number 1, we are building the base of the X-Wing. This is going to be a lot of those stupid round black pieces that go into the holes of the Legos. I swear, it's not just me, but they just don't go in sometimes, and I have to wiggle them in. In this bag, you also get the iconic pink-colored bricks that you place around to help with the color differences in the build. If you've watched my previous builds, you would know I absolutely love these and welcome them in any build. Don't worry, these will get covered later, but these help with counting studs and make a bland build just look a little bit better to me while putting it together. Even on a build that doesn't have many colors, they managed to make it boring and not to make it boring and spread out what you are doing throughout the build in this portion. The structure so far is solid, while only a few pieces being, wide and building off of it, Lego shows us how superior their blocks are, and it just feels amazing. Being the first bag of the set, this is building the foundation for everything in the X-Wing. From setting up the front nose position to where everything will connect later in the build, this is also where you get to build the cockpit of the X-Wing. Surprising to me since it's so early in the build. Eventually, we get to start building on the outside of the iconic white of Luke's X-Wing. Moving on to bag 2, this is where we will be building the portion of the butt of the ship where the wings will connect to. At first, I thought the length of the ship was already laid out, but we'll be adding many more things throughout the build to increase its size. Building the mechanism that actually hold the wings of the ship was super cool. This is something you don't think will work until you actually do it and stick everything together. This also means that you will have to make sure that everything is in the correct position now. So later in the build, you aren't trying to figure out where you messed up and one X-Wing is sticking out way further than the other. Unfortunately, the main thing that holds the wings together is the dreaded rubber band. I'm personally not a big fan of these because they will eventually break and you will need to contact Lego to get new ones. This isn't that big of a deal, but getting to the rubber bands themselves is really hard because they are under so many things. Hopefully, when I have to eventually fix these. They aren't too bad to get to, but who knows? You also get to add to the portion that makes the wings move. I think this could have been done in a better way, but it still looks pretty cool on the outside. You can't really feel when the wings are in the correct position when you are turning it, but I don't know how to make this any better. In this build, we yet again get to see that bright colored pieces that LEGO likes to do in their builds to help show where pieces are and to give more variety. Finishing off the cockpit was really cool too. You had the little visor that Luke uses in episode 4, and it just feels like the actual cockpit of a ship. In this bag, we didn't add much to the exterior of the ship, but we made a large portion of its guts. Bag 3 will be working more on the butt of the ship. The butt is nearly completed as we make the outside of the ship to make it all look neat. Now, I have a few problems with how they did this. They are all connected by one piece that just doesn't hold up really well and makes the end product very fragile. While moving the ship around or showing it off, I broke these many times and wish that LEGO thought of a better way to put these panels on the ship. Despite this, it still looks really good. The panels are a little repetitive, but if you think this is bad, just wait until we get to the making the actual wings. With this bag, the butt is essentially done, and we get to move on to adding onto the front of and middle of the ship. Again, number 4, this bag starts off with a bright cyan piece to build off of. I just love it so much, and I think it just adds so much to the building process rather than the final product of the build. The next part that I made was the side paneling of the nose of the ship. For this part, it was held on a little bit better than the paneling of the butt, although you have to make sure you don't break it off. Until you make the nose, you have to be careful adding onto the ship. This is due to the fact that all these nose side paneling is held onto by the tip of the nose. So before you insert the tip of the nose, you might have to be a little careful since they just flap around into the wind. After you get the few side panels on, it looks amazing. I know a lot of people have been hating on this UCS LEGO set, but I think it looks great. This is also where you put the glass panel on. It just fits great. I know I might be a big fanboy of this set, but I really enjoyed it. Thankfully, the nose is here to be made. Make that and stick it on the front. Even though I wasn't a big fan of having it hold the panels together, the way they did it was actually really cool, and I understand why they did. Inserting it in the front is a little tricky, make everything align, and it's pretty neat. The X-Wing looks almost complete. Looking at it, you might think it's almost a complete set, but we're missing something. We need to get the wings in the X formation. But before we do that, we have to make the stand so we have somewhere to place the almost finished ship. The stand is nothing special, and honestly, it isn't really good and doesn't hold together that well. I have seen other people make it in different ways, and I would recommend doing this if you understand how to do anything similar or can find other people's instructions online. When placing the final product on the stand, the parts that are just below the ship will break it off if you're just not careful. You get to make Luke himself and place him on the stand, and thankfully, you can place the ship on the stand for the next portion of the build. And don't forget everyone's favorite droid who actually fits in his place behind the cockpit. Bags 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all essentially the exact same, so I will go over them all in one section. Overall, the wings are way thinner than I thought they should have been. I also thought they were supposed to be a bit longer too, but alas, they are very repetitive. The best part of the wings is putting the boosters on them and the blasters. The way they show the boosters on the front was really intuitive, and the way they connect is really cool too. Although, when you do connect the wings to the body, the brown pieces that are used, I think, are really dumb and would look way better in a different color, like gray, maybe. I don't know. There was mainly one difference in one wing. The colors were a bit different. Other than that, essentially everything was the same. The actual blasters were really cool too, but I wish they didn't have these little spaces on them. I feel like if you're paying nearly $250, everything should fit perfectly. If you don't like the repetitive things, this portion of the build will suck. If you can get past this, you finish the build. So let's talk about it. My review of this build is really hard. To me, in my own opinion, I loved it and I had a really fun time making it. When I look online and see what everyone else is saying about it, I have to agree with many points they make, but overall, I still think it's a great Lego set. It took me nearly 7 hours to put this together, and I love showing everyone who will see it my accomplishment of making this intricate set. It looks great with the wings open, displayed in my room. If you have $250 laying around and want to buy a set, this one is a strong contender. I do not think this is the best Ultimate Collector series out there, but for the price, I don't see many that lie around this set that can compare very well. If you don't enjoy it, get a different one. I really like this set. I had a blast making it. It looks really good sitting there. I think, of course, there are things that they could have done better in the build, but I'm not a Lego engineer, so I don't know how they could have made it better. Finally, here's my score for this Ultimate Collector Series Star Wars Lego set. I give it a 91 out of 100. If you enjoyed this Lego review and speed build video, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe below, because there are more sets to come in the future. If you enjoyed all this, make sure to check my Twitch where I stream everything live, twitch.tv/llamas170. All of my links to everything are down below. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. For the rest of this video, please enjoy the rest of the speed build as well as a video of me showing it off at the end. I'll catch you guys all on the next one. Later.